Okay, so once you go into your Google Drive, underneath the plus button on the top left says plus and new. At the beginning, it doesn't really show much, but if you go down to more, it's going to have your options for Google Sites. So the third option down may be a little different for you. Go ahead and click on that. Click on Google Sites. And it's going to pop up a separate page. And this is just a blank screen. It's just a blank screen. First thing we want to do, though, is we want to title this. So I think we had a normal, let's see, our title was, what do we call it? Their first name, last name.
Oh, yes.
Art.
First name, last name, art.
Art, yeah. Okay, so first name, last name, and then art is what we'll call it. So up here at the very top next to the icon, and then just hit enter.
So first name, last name, art.
Yep, first name, last name, art. And then what's going to happen is it's going to change your name right here. Okay, it's going to change your name right here. So before we really start digging in here, you can notice that we have some items that as we move our cursor over, we have different things that we can do. We can get rid of, we can make this resizable. Over on the far right, we have an insert tab, we have a pages tab, we have a themes tab. So actually, before we really dig too far, let's look at our themes. We always like to start off with a cool theme, right? Now you don't have to choose a theme, but there are some themes that are already here for their in Google Sites. You don't have to use one because once you do use one, it is going to kind of shorten you into some options of your fonts. So if I was to click here to your page and I look at all the different fonts I have as an option here, if I choose one of these themes over here, that's going to make that list of fonts much shorter. So you have to find a theme. If you want to use one, you have to find one that you really like. So I like Aristotle. It's okay. It's not bad. I also like Impression. That's probably my favorite one that I've used. But notice that when I go back over here now, my title, I still have quite a bit of fonts. But when I start dragging over items down here in the bottom, so some different fonts down there, I'm only going to have about 3 options. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up here to Aristotle, has a little smaller line here, and I don't really like any of these colors. I'm going to kind of go with a Twin Lakes theme, so I can click on this bucket. I can move this around into like different colors. I can move this slider, and it's going to give me different options. Notice how it's changing my line underneath here. I can choose these different options if I want. I can go to a blue, make it a darker blue. I'm actually going to go all the way back over here to red, is what I'm going to do. And I'm going to choose that one. Okay? So, once I find a color I like, I can change my font style. Here's like the 3 options I have. Okay, here's 3 options I have.
Because you're in theme.
Because I'm in a theme. Yeah, since I'm in a theme, it's going to change that for me. So you can choose whichever one you want. So I'm going to give you a couple minutes here, about 2 minutes, to kind of go through, search for whatever theme you like, and if you want to adjust some of your colors, if you want to adjust some of your fonts, you can do that. So give you about 2 minutes. Okay, so back here on our page. So now we can change your page title. So we're going to call this your, we'll change the title to, what do we call it for the home page art? Yep, home page art, or art, yeah. Bless you. Now, if you want to, you can change this font up here. You can highlight it, and you can change your font if you want. I like Spartan's a fun one. Make it semi-bold. There we go. Spartan's a good one. It's easy to read. You can change your size of it and everything. I would not change this from being a title. I would leave that as a title because you want the title of your page to be the largest font on your entire page. You can change. You can make it bold. You can italicize it if you want. There's a couple different options you can do. If your page is too big, you can even resize this and you can move this around. Now, two things. I don't like this background. That's not really telling me anything about when people first come to my page, they're going to look at this white font on top of a black background. That's pretty boring, right? So what I can do is I can change my image, and I can could either upload an image of my own, or I can go to select image. And there's two different options I really like here that you can do. One of them is right at the very beginning, it just gives you a gallery of some different options. So if I go through here and if I'm like, oh, hey, some of these are kind of neat. These are really boring. Okay, that's a very boring background. I always like to have some kind of simple image in here. So I'm going to choose this one. I'm going to hit select. There we go. So this changed my background a little bit. Now that's okay, but that's not really, I didn't really see a whole lot of art ones in there. So I'm going to go to change image again. Select image. And I'm going to go to search. Okay, I'm going to click on search instead. And what this is going to do, this is going to search Google for any free to reuse websites. So I'm actually going to type in artists. And so if I type in artists, there's a whole bunch of different options, but there's also some people doing art, but there's a lot of cool pieces of art. So I think I chose this one before. I kind of liked it before. I'm going to choose that one again. It has an art palette. And now, okay, does this image seem like it would go a little bit better with an artist page? Yeah. So go ahead, look through your page, or look through those different images, and select a background that you would like. See if there's anything that kind of grabs your fancy. And once you choose your background, if you want to go and change your title, you can change your fonts back in your title so it looks a little better if you like. It's up to you.
Is there an overlay on that one too? Ah. Okay, so it's the sparkle on the bottom right.
Yeah, so the sparkle kind of adjusts it a little bit for readability. It tries to automatically do it, but you may have to fix it a little bit more. Now, if you want all this to be on one line, go ahead and click on it, and then you can drag that to go to your side. And drag that one over. Okay, find a good image. All right. Last thing we're doing here at the very beginning is we are going to go up here to where it says Mr. Klein Art, or it's going to be your name, and then underneath it says Add Logo. So this is going to be where you've taken something that you've already done, and we're going to add your logo. Your logo is going to be one of your avatars that you've made. Okay. So if I go over to my my TLSC Badges for Educators, this Indian head is one of our logos we use for school. That's a logo that I just took from the school and put it on here. You can do that same thing with your avatar. So you go to Add Logo, and I want to go to Upload. And here you need to find one of your avatars. So I'll just choose this one. I hit Open. And see what it does now is it adds the avatar to the side. Mr. Klein has nice, luscious hair in his avatar. Like something I haven't had since I was about your guys' age. So it's been a while.
Hair described as luscious.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, when you have my hair, somebody will be there. You may need help finding their avatar. Might have to search. we may have to.
What's the image on her back? Can she copy that?
Should be able to. So, here's a look. Here's a look. Let's do full screen. Let's do screen share.
Yeah. She should. You're not performing well.
That work? X that out. Everyone else get theirs? Perfect. Okie doke. So let's go. Let's start inserting stuff. So, actually, let's add pages. We're kind of working backwards. So, did anybody have Mrs. Milligan for 7th grade art last year? Second semester? A few of you did? Okay, so, and then everybody else is just 8th grade. So, if I go to my Pages tab here on the right, it only says home. Well, I'm going to need to add one more, possibly two more. So, if you had her in the past, you can add a 7th grade also. But we're going to click on the plus button on the bottom, and we're going to say 8th grade art. 8th grade art, hit done. And then watch what happens when I hit 8th grade art, or when I hit done. It's going to add my tab up here at the top. Now, if you had Mrs. Milligan last year in 7th grade, we're going to add another page. If you did not, that's okay. Just leave it alone.
Here's the thing. Some of them might have 3. And I didn't think about the last class because they had 8-1 and 8-2 and then 7.
Oh, okay.
And I have them each 9 weeks they created that. So how do you do that?
So we'll just leave it under 8th grade and just call it like first semester DAP, second semester if they want to. All right, so we've added these pages. Now, I just navigate between these pages if I click on these options at the top. Okay. So anytime I want to go to those pages, I can do that. So we're going to go to your 8th grade art page. So make sure it says 8th grade art here at the top. You can actually even change this. If you want to change this header so it's not the same as your first page, you can do that. You can change the font if you want. I would recommend probably keeping the font the same. You can change the background if you like. But what I'm going to do is we're going to go to insert, and we're going to insert your digital art portfolio. Okay. Now, whenever you go to the insert tab, there's a ton of things you can add. You can add a text box. You can add images. You can embed stuff. So if you really get into website design and you want to embed certain things like an Instagram feed, you can embed that and it can be on the side. Some businesses use Facebook still. I know some of you are like, what's Facebook? But that's for us old folks. And so you can have like a Facebook feed on the side because that's what some businesses use as well. We're not going to worry about that. But we have Drive, so you can pull anything from your Google Drive. It does not have to be a Google file. It could be an image. It could be a PDF. It could be anything. We can drag that over. If we scroll down further, they have different layouts you can play with. They have a collapsible group, which is kind of fun to toy around with. They have an image carousel, which we will come back to. Some different options, but what we want to do is we want to go down here to slides. Click on slides. And you need to find your digital art portfolio. If you need to, just click on the little magnifying glass. Click on your magnifying glass, and you can type in DAP. Okay, you can type in your digital art portfolio. You could say 8A1 or whatever your name is. So find your DAP, and you're going to insert it. I'm just going to insert. I'm just going to double click on anything over here. And what happens is that's going to put your Google Slides right in here. Okay, so everybody needs to go and put your DAP in there.
This is not brag, but this is my better group. Listing wise.
Isn't that what you said? That's what you said first period too.
I know, right? They're all my favorite.
Just kidding. Okay, so now here's what happens. Well, I want to see what this looks like. It's always good to preview your work. So if I click on this icon at the top, right next to the arrows, I can preview this. So this is my 8th grade art page. This is what somebody else would be looking at. I've got a lot of white space over here, don't I? That doesn't look really good if we leave that empty like that. We can either leave it empty, or what we can do is we can take this Google Slides and we can slide it over and center it. Now here's the cool thing about putting your slides in here, is if I can move this, is I can actually go through.
It's behind the recording.
Yeah, I know. Yes, of course it is. That's okay. I can get out of here. Let me add something else below it. But what I can do is I can, here we go. Now I'll preview it. With your Google Slides, it's going to let you go through your Google Slides on this page. So we don't have to open Google Slides elsewhere. We can actually just click through using these arrows, click through all of these different Google Slides on that page, which is really nice. So you would only have to share this website with Mrs. Milligan. She would be able to go through your DAP right here. She can go to the different slides if she wants, if she knows the specific slide she wants to go to,
I have a question.
everything like that.
What if, just thought about it,
Mhm.
if I created a class, and inside my site, I had a class listed at the top, and I had all of their stuff in there.
Oh yeah,
Would I
you could.
share that with you, and it would always be updated?
So
Then I would never.
you could link all of their web pages. So you could put like their first initial, last name, and then
But
link
what
to
I'm
their
saying
website.
is I can have all their DApps on here,
Mhm.
like instead of like that link page that I have, and they're all right here under one class.
You could do that. The wheels are turning, right? Okay, so now say I want this more centered. So what I can do is once I put my cursor over my Google Slides, I want it to be centered on my page. I can just drag this over because it becomes a crosshair. And notice how it gives you some guidelines where you can start matching it up in certain places. So if I put this somewhere in the center, it gives me these blue lines on the side. That means I'm going to have it perfectly centered right here. So now if I was to go back to my preview, this is going to be my DAP is going to be centered on the page, which we can do. Okay, you can do that. You can either center it, or here's your other option. If you want to keep it on the left or on the right, and you want to add some text to the right, this is one thing we can do. We can insert a text box, and this is not going to drag down over into here currently because it's too wide. Right? It's too wide. So I can drag this blue dot, make my text box smaller, go to about here, and now I can move this down next to it, and I can start talking about, this is my digital art portfolio, my favorite, blah, blah, blah. And I can keep going, typing more stuff along here on the side. Okay? So then now if I was to preview this, it's going to have my Google Slides, and it's going to have all of my typing on the side. As I scroll down. There we go. Okay? So you have a couple different options.
Can you show them the templates that were there with the pictures and the go to insert?
The carousel?
Right here. Show them that they have layouts.
Oh yeah. Okay. You can also, if you don't necessarily like how this is, I'm going to get rid of it. I'm just going to hit the trash can, and maybe instead I like the layouts. You can play around with these different layouts, and what you can do now is I could actually drag this down here, and I could start typing. It gives me a little bit of a template that I could call this my digital art portfolio.
What's nice about this layout is you have a title and then you have your text underneath.
Mm-hmm.
can also just push on that image there, right? And then insert.
Yeah, so if I don't like this, I could be like, okay, well, here's my, oops, that here. Don't like that. All right, stretch this back. Okay, so if I do this instead, and if this has just a plus button, you can upload anything to go in this box. So you could upload from your drive. You could select an image. You could even open up, you could even put a YouTube video right here on the side. So I'm going to hit put on from drive. I can go over here to my, where my recent is. And then I could pull up anything from my Google Drive. So if I'm bringing up my digital art portfolio, I can do that. So we'll just say, there we go. Now, I obviously need to resize this because this does not look very good. So you may have to do some resizing, some adjusting if you like. And this one is more, not a good example, but I could drag this down. You can always grab these blue circles and you can move them around and resize your items. Okay, any questions about, at this moment, any questions about using the layouts or inserting your slides? Any questions yet? Okay, I'm only going to show you about 3 more things. How many we got? 58? Okay. Actually, I'll just show you like 1 or 2 more things because you want to have their all about me on the front, right?
Correct.
Okay, so on your home page, you have an all about me slide from your Google Drive, correct? Yes. From your Google Slides.
Yes.
So in your DAP, you have an all about me. So let's just go with me here. Say this is my all about me slide, and I only want just this slide, not everything else. So I don't want to pull in all my Google Slides. I want just the about me. What you can do with your Google Slides is you can select any of these options. We'll choose somebody else here. This is kind of an all about me picture. So if I go to File, and if I
DAP right now, you're gonna do what he's doing.
Yep. So go into your art portfolio, and I'm going to go up here to File. I'm going to go to Download, and I can download just this current slide as a JPEG or a PNG. Right? So go to File, go to Download, and we're going to make it a PNG. And notice how it should add it down here to the bottom of your Chrome. What we can do from here is we can actually just take this and drag it onto here. Because now your slide is actually just an image. And then I can center this up. Okay?
She has a question.
Yes.
She doesn't have a little thing in the corner.
Right there.
Oh, it didn't show up. Okay. Let's go here to let's go to images. It should be because you downloaded it, right? So really? That is your own on there. Okay, so now you can drag it across. If anyone else has disappeared from the bottom,
How did you get it back? You just went over there to the side and pushed it. Okay, thank you.
anyone else has disappeared?
I didn't know how to answer your question.
Okay, so we go to
But I think you have, go ahead. He was saying that it should be there. Is that what it is? Should be right now. So it should push you. Like he went through here, like you did. Where's that over here?
oh,
Did you download it? Alright, then make that big, make that slide big so you can see it, and that'll be on your homepage, be like a little introduction for you. And if you haven't filled it out, maybe you're gonna get filled out. Can you edit that one? Oh, it's a very.
Not once you.
Oh, because it's a picture. I get it now.
Okay.
So we have a minute.
All right. Very last thing you want to do is you will want to publish up here at the top right. Okay. Always make sure you preview, but you want to publish this. Once you publish it, it's going to tell you kind of what the web address is here. This is something that you could share with your parents or somebody else if you want them to look at your website. But it defaults to only people with a TL Campus email address can open it. So if you want to send it to your parents, you actually have to change this. You have to hit manage, and you have to make this your published site has to be to the public. Now, once you do that, anybody can search for your website. Anybody can see what you have on here. Okay? If you don't want everybody to see that, and you just want to show just your parents on your own device, then just leave this as Twin Lakes School District. And you should be fine. They hit publish, and now I can send that link to anybody, and they can view that. Okay? So, I know we don't have a whole lot of time to play around, but yeah, that's kind of it. So if you have any questions, if you want me to look over it, if you want Mrs. Milligan to look over it, just send us your website and we do that.
Class, we need